All right, welcome to The Blueprint. I am so excited to have Lori here with us today. We are continuing our series, and I think that's really where this came up. Was I was talking about the series, and Lori was like, hey, I would be great for that series. So I'm excited to learn more about you and learn about your journey. But the series that we are doing is From Dreaming to Doing, the entrepreneurial journey series. That was a mouthful. But before we get started and jump into things, Lori, introduce yourself to us. Tell us about the companies that you own and why you're excited to be here today.
Well, thank you,
You're
Megan,
welcome.
for having me. I am Lori Devine. I am currently working at a salon in Ephrata called Fenz Salon. My sister and I opened it last year, and so we're about a year and a half in. I just launched a on-site wedding hair in November called Devine Wedding Hair, which I go to the venues and work with different makeup artists to make brides a beautiful day for them. And I just recently joined the team of J&E Business Group. Met Christy through the Northern Lancaster County Chamber.
Yeah.
And I was kind of going through some health issues at the beginning of the year. I was out of work for about 5 months.
I remember the first time that I really met you. You had your arm in a sling.
Yeah, good old rotator cuff issue. It just forced me to kind of start thinking outside the box of what else I want to do. And I was privileged to own a salon from 2018 to 2025, which I did sell it down in Rising Sun, Maryland, and moved back to Pennsylvania to be closer to my family and my parents and my grandbabies now. So I'm kind of dabbling in a bunch of different things, but people and networking and encouraging other business owners, especially women and just people in general, I've learned is my passion.
All right. So we're excited. You've got some great history, and you also are kind of working in a couple different ways, right? So you have a business that you work for, you have a business that you are a contractor in, and one you own yourself. So that also gives lots of different perspectives on being a business owner and all the different trails that you can go down with that. So take me back to the beginning. What was going on in your life that you decided to start a business?
Oh, what's going on in my life? I was going through a divorce. It was a very difficult time. I had spent 30-some years working at my mother's company in New Holland and commuting from Rising Sun, Maryland, and working 3 days a week helping.
So you were commuting from Rising Sun to New Holland. That's like, what, 40 minutes?
It's 50.
50,
but
okay.
Close to an hour, depending on traffic. 3 days a week while I raised my kids. It was a great job. It had a lot of freedom with a flexible schedule to be able to, be a part of their schooling years. And so when I was going through the divorce, I realized I needed to pick up another job. And I was able to find a couple things at first 2 years of going through the divorce, which was kind of cool because I worked in a nursing home for a while, and then they hired me on as a manager. And I went to Baltimore. I had 4 salons on one location that I managed, a team of 16. Then that commute was getting too much and different things. So I then got hired on as a manager in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania for a salon. And I was training, and the week I was training, I got the call for a salon in Rising Sun that wanted to bring me on to the team and transition into ownership.
Okay, so that's even a neat
provision of God. Absolutely,
very neat.
And I had the experience of working at a corporate level. I grew up in my mom's salon. That's all I ever knew was family-run business.
I was going to say that when you were saying that earlier. I grew up in family business too, and it's just different. It's different when you grow up in family business than if you grow up in traditional employee relationship families. I've learned that a lot in my own marriage, and how that looks like for our family. But like you're saying, I grew up in the back office, and
my grandfather, he started a TV company right after the war because he was in TV and radio.
Wow.
And he started that, and my cousin still owns it today, and it's morphed through the years to now they do mostly security systems, which my son worked for them and now has his own business. My grandfather helped build Hearst Potato Chip Company. He was one of the first employees. And so my mom, and now my sister's a business owner, my son, even my daughter, as I was working on this, realized at 8 years old, she had Simply Sweet treats that were dog treats and horse treats that she liked to sell at my salon.
I love that.
Lots of entrepreneurs in my life.
My son, I just taught him yesterday how to use a light box to take pictures of video games to sell on eBay. So he's already kind of dipping his
I love it.
toe in there, and he's like, let me try this. And I'm like, all right, here, I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm not going to do it for you. Have a great time.
Very cool.
So did you ever see yourself, and we kind of talked about this, but did you ever see yourself as an entrepreneur, or did it kind of happen by accident?
Absolutely happened by accident. I were growing up, or working at my mom's salon all the years, and the biggest thing I did in managing and helping my mom, I did a lot of the HR, I did a lot of the hiring, and then I was always the trainer.
Okay.
Somewhere along the way, I became very passionate about the next generation of hairstylists, and I just wanted to give them every bit of knowledge I had. So that was really my passion.
And that's where you thought you were going to stay, something in that field. So what changed that you were like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to change.
I had an opportunity that was absolutely.
That was just one you couldn't turn down.
I could not turn down. I remember walking in, and the salon was 38 years old at the time.
Oh, wow.
And it hadn't been remodeled since the 80s.
It looked it.
And at that point, I started just envisioning what it could be. And I successfully rebranded it, remodeled it pretty much by myself with the help of, family days. People would come down and paint and power wash. And I did hire 2 contractors, one to build a deck and one to build a deck and install my floor, and the other is the electrician, which you have to pay. Other than that, I spent a lot of time.
Want it to not have all those. Can you imagine having like the DIY electrician and then being like, how much power do you use? And just looking at, we're a hair salon, like all of it. We use all of it.
Not to mention, town codes and whatnot. They want a licensed electrician.
But
I learned, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I walked aimlessly around Home Depot with tears in my eyes. A lot of years. But I learned a lot. And of course, social media and marketing has changed dramatically.
Absolutely.
In the last 10 years. And I had to teach myself that in my 40s, you know?
Yeah. Well, even I was thinking as you were saying that things that people don't think about when you buy a business or move into a building, all the things that have nothing to do with the thing that you do that you have to learn how to do. I even remember when we moved into this building, and how many things, you have to hang TVs, you have to hang, all the things. You have flooring, we had to get walls built, we had to get power to things, like all that. You're like, great, awesome. Now I also build furniture and all the things.
Oh wait, and I do hair?
Oh, and I do hair on the side, in top of everything else.
Oh wait. I pay my taxes too. Oh, okay.
Gotta make sure we do that one. Don't forget that one. What was the moment when you got this salon? So let's talk about that one. When you got the salon, and it was the moment where you said, okay, this is real now. Like, when did it feel like, okay, I'm not the employee anymore, I'm the owner, this is real?
Yeah, I had a trip scheduled to go to Arizona prior to knowing that this was all going to go down when it did. And I was sitting down at BWI getting ready for a flight, and I needed to get all the numbers in to my accountant to make payroll. Mm-hmm. And I remember crunching the numbers, sending them to her, looking at the bank account and going, there's enough money to pay my staff and there's money left over. And I remember just that joy in my heart. And
the moment that the line went green.
Yes.
It's a good moment, right? When you're like, okay, we're going to do this. I'm going to make it. That's a good moment. And you even have a really cool life experience that you've also sold a successful business. And that is something to be really proud of, right? Because so many times you're just in the nuts and bolts that you're not thinking about selling your business, but you've gone through that as well. So that process and relocating to come back up here to be with your family and all that good stuff. What was the biggest fear you had before starting?
Probably what most women is that I'm not going to be good enough. That I will miss opportunities. But I think that's pretty common.
I think that's very common. Now, was it true?
Absolutely not that I wasn't good enough. Did I miss opportunities? Yeah. But I think that I call that growth.
Absolutely. 100%. And I think so many times when we start a business, we are almost scared of what we don't know. And I think that a lot of times, I remember, like, did I file everything correctly? Is every, like, you're waiting for, like, the boogeyman to come out, and, like, did I have everything, cross my T's, dot my I's, put the W-9s in the right folder?
Yeah.
All those things have nothing to do with doing hair, right? But are all part of being a business owner. Now, did your mom help you with a lot of that when you were starting out?
No, not with the business end of it.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of it probably just was the demographics that I was in Maryland, she was up here.
That's true.
And she at that point was still working probably 5 days behind the chair a week. My mom still works 2 days a week behind the chair.
Wow.
She sold her salon and now she's working for the new owner. They came down several times. My mom is always very supportive of me having the company, and she was very proud of me. She would come down and help paint. I mean, we literally had days of like cleaning rooms out because of just so much accumulated. There was one wall that was covered with flags and Christmas decorations with, like, it was all seasonal. It was a lot.
Eclectic.
It was but it was probably one of the greatest gifts of my life.
I mean, but I keep thinking, like, so my mom also has owned a business, and totally different industry. So she's been really helpful with health insurance recommendations and some HR things. But when it came to the day-to-day of running a marketing agency, that's very different than what she did. But what a cool opportunity that your mom had a successful salon in a different area, and that you actually got all of that. You probably didn't even know you were getting it at the time. All of that knowledge and experience and situational issues that are always going to come up, right? That you already learned a lot of those skills from her. So that's very cool. Very cool. And so she's still working. That's great. Good for her. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
She's amazing.
She sounds like it. She sounds like it. And her daughters have both owned salons. Like, what a legacy. That's so great. That's so great. Okay. So sorry, that just makes me happy. The mama in me, that makes me so happy. Okay. So what's something that you would absolutely do differently if you were to start again?
Probably I would give myself more grace.
That's a good answer, Lori.
I think that I am still learning that. And because every season of life's a little bit different. And
well, now you can give yourself grace as you're relaunching again, right?
Yes. I mean, it's the fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
The imposter syndrome. We all. And I think I always need to keep saying that.
Every single person that I have had in this series has talked about imposter syndrome.
But
and so what? Like, we got to fix that. Like, right? Like,
for the lady in the back.
Yeah. What did you say?
For the lady in the back.
For the lady in the back. Yes.
It is real, and if the more real we make it, or
absolutely
we talk about it, it's
And that was one of the really big reasons that I wanted to do this specific series, is that you could be in any season of ownership or thinking about being an owner or any of that, and just be like, okay, like, everything that I'm feeling, they felt too. And I can do it. Like, I always say, not everybody's made to be an entrepreneur. And if you are, like, if you feel that calling, like, follow it, right? But if you also, which again, I love with my husband's journey, if being a really rock star employee is your path, do that too. Like, those are both amazing things, but follow where your heart is. And sometimes it'll fall into your lap like it did for you. And you're just like, okay, we're doing this.
And one thing I learned in doing, preparing for this and really, getting down on a piece of paper and thinking about what I want to share is that I really realized there's a big difference between entrepreneurship and small business ownership. Not everybody's an entrepreneur.
Share with me more on this.
I believe.
Enlighten me.
I think a small business owner, you get a paycheck. An entrepreneur, you give opportunities. I think that entrepreneurs think want to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see growth.
Mm-hmm.
They're just born leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can get an EIN number and put a sign on the door and do their craft.
Yeah. And the grit, right? Like there's a lot of grit that has to go into it. Like I think I've said this before, but like the swan, right? Like a swan looks so beautiful on the top, but they're paddling for dear life underneath. And that's, especially in the foundational years, that is very true at what that looks like. Was there ever a moment that you considered quitting, and what kept you going?
Does this morning count?
Today, the phone call I took before I walked in here.
Yesterday, as I was nervous as anything. Absolutely. Absolutely. What has always kept me going is, my faith. And, God gifted me with this opportunity, and I had to be a good steward of it. And I owed it to my team.
Yeah.
And to my girls. COVID.
Yeah.
That's the highlighted one. I mean, I did have early on 2 employees purchase a salon down the street, and that was
heartbreaking.
And I fortunately had an amazing uncle at the time who was a very successful business owner, encouraged me and told me that it's okay now. You know where your baseline is. You know where you're starting from. And
it is so wonderful to have those people in your life that have walked it and know, like, right now you are in the thick of it, but like you're gonna get through it.
Yeah, the irony of it was my uncle, who has since passed, and he worked he had the maitre d' of the log cabin for years, and then went on to have Fenz Restaurant.
Wow.
Which then, since he's passed and we opened the salon, that's how we got our name, which is kind of a form of our maiden name. So
I love that.
But yeah, he gave me that. But COVID, I mean, it was I'll never forget putting the closed sign on the door, picking up my monitor, like literally monitor under, and took it in my living room at home, set up my office. My girls were not thrilled with that, but worked every day on SBA, educating myself on grants and loans, and Zoom calls weekly, trying to keep my team's morale up, and laying in bed at night not knowing
where it was going to come from
and what we were going to do.
Again, I closed a business during COVID and started a new journey, and I think that COVID was really a season where I think as a business owner, you had to decide, am I going to put my head down and go, or not, And then also, it is neat to see all of the new businesses that have resulted after COVID, from people that have looked at it differently and pivoted and reinvented themselves. And I mean, that's a cool part that came out, but you were definitely in.
Well, we were always told as hairdressers that we'd always have a job. Mm-hmm. And then you realize that was a lie. And, yeah, of course, there was no unemployment for a business owner,
nope.
like it.
I mean, I am so grateful that they came out with that program. Like, I know it was riddled with fraud, and that's so
But in Maryland, I didn't, so.
But they didn't do it. They didn't do the whatever unemployment for. Oh, I thought it was federal.
Oh. No, and we had the PPP, and we had SBA, and I was very fortunate, but I worked for every grant that I got. I got grants from the county, I got grants from the state. So, I just love what you just said, though, and I think that we need to work more on that. Is COVID just is like a knife to all of us, and we need to start changing the narrative on it, and being like, not that we ever want to go back, but what did good come from it?
Right.
And as I was working on this, I realized, like, my daughters were so impacted being at the ages they were. And, one was in 8th grade, one was just out of, was in college. And how it changed their whole mindset. Mm-hmm. And instead of like beating our head up against the wall of this next generation, give them some grace.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. When COVID happened, my kids were 8, 9-ish, and 3. So having the experience that they have had, watching me build something all over again, because I built the first one before they could remember. And just seeing what came of that, right? That you can build something and you're going to learn along the way and you're going to fail along the way. But you're still going to get up tomorrow and do it again.
Resiliency.
And yes. And I feel like as mothers, right? I feel like that is so important to teach our kids. And the best way to teach them is by watching you do it, and even if you're an employee versus as an entrepreneur or small business owner, learning that same thing. You're going to have coworkers that you're not going to get along with, but you're going to go to work because it's important and it provides for the family. And, all of those things are so important to teach our kids. And I love that. And it is neat now that we're, oh my gosh, 6 years out from COVID, what good things have come, what not so great things came, but what awesome things have been birthed.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing to remember.
It is. It is. Absolutely. Okay. So what do new entrepreneurs not prioritize that they probably should?
I would definitely say make a plan and even an exit plan at some point.
Oh, yeah. And we talked a little bit about that earlier when you sold. Yeah.
I early on read the book, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and it literally changed my life. I think that you need to learn to prioritize your family. You need to empower your employees and your staff to make decisions. Mm-hmm. And you want to figure out a way that your business can run without you physically being there and a slave to it. I see entirely too many people that are a slave to their company.
I could not agree with you more. And I mean, having a plan is the first thing, right? We can't just keep winging it. And when you have a plan, it also helps you to keep those boundaries in place because that's not the plan. And I think there's going to be seasons where you have to jump in and be more present, but always be looking, I love how you said that, be looking at when am I going to get back to neutral, right? And you can't constantly be living in catching up, and what is the plan to make sure that, hey, I'm with the kids, hey, I'm doing this, and giving your people, right? Empowering your employees to make those decisions, to step into those leadership positions. And it's beautiful for them. Like, I don't know. I love that part too, right?
Yeah,
the more I release, the more that they get to step up and shine in really fun, new ways.
And that being that I trained so many through the years. I mean, I don't care if they work for an artistry team or if they're master colorist at this point or they're stay-at-home moms. My proud mama moments are watching them living their best life. And that's what has fueled my soul.
I love that.
But yeah, back to making a plan and sticking to it, but then don't be so rigid on yourself that you're going to have to reevaluate sometimes, and priorities change, especially as our children get older or a new one comes in, like.
I know, because there's a baby on the way.
There is a little girl finally. We have 3 boys and we're getting our first girl in August. Not me.
No.
My daughter.
What? No. That season is long gone, right?
Mary.
That's a great one. Okay. How has being a business owner changed you personally?
Probably everything. I don't, I shop differently. I look for services differently. I look at marketing totally different. Everything's an opportunity. A friend once told me, she said, everything is content.
Yep.
And that's...
There's a little like, everything is content, something. How does that song go? Everything is awesome. Oh, there's that. That's everything is awesome. That's from the Lego movie, isn't it? You have to know all these soon. Well,
but yeah, it's just, I just see the value in the small business and I want to support other businesses. I want to support people. I don't want anyone to ever feel alone.
Yeah.
And I through it, I joined the chamber early on. I was encouraged to do that. And I joined the Rising Sun Chamber and I joined the Cecil County Chamber. And then in 2022, maybe, I became an ambassador for the chamber, which is where I really found my love for networking.
Yeah.
And that just so, now I'm a part of the Northern Lancaster County Chamber, and I'm just loving it.
They're so good. They're so good.
They are
Everybody
great.
should go. Okay, so what is one thing about your journey that you wouldn't change for the world?
I would say kind of what I just talked about is the people that I've invested in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so proud of them. And yeah.
I love that. Because I think the heart of somebody who owns a business, they want to see a different path forward for the people that have trusted their company to work for them, and to see where they're going with it, right? Where are you going to take it? Where's your creative piece going to come out? I don't know. I think that is, I'm even thinking about some of my staff members and things that, they were like, I would never do that. And now that's their favorite part, and just seeing how they are growing and finding their place. And I don't know. Maybe that's because we're coming, on the other side, right? Like, yeah. I'm over the hill now, right? So, like, you look at things.
Start to be a grandmother.
I'm not quite that far yet, right? Like,
yeah,
I just start thinking, I was like, when Hunter gets a girlfriend, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be a whole new world. But I think that you see everything, like, to me, my own personal success, I don't get nearly as excited about as I do for what my kids are doing or what my team is doing. Like that, that part is exciting.
But that's where the true entrepreneur comes in. That's where that creating opportunities and encouraging growth. And that is
so good.
It is so good.
So good. Even on those days, right? Even on the days. All right. So, Lori, last question. If someone is listening right now who is in year one of their journey or is thinking about starting a business, what would you tell them?
I would say go for it. Go for it. Be kind to yourself. Prioritize, some of the things we've already talked about. Make a plan. Make an exit plan. Get your SOPs in order. Read the E-Myth. And have fun.
Yeah. Remember the joy.
One thing I learned was, what's the worst that can happen? And once I sat with that and realized that, if I think about what's the worst that can happen and I plan backwards from there, you realize that the end is never death.
Yeah.
It might be some substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
But it's not death.
It's not death.
And
we are not
you're going to be held
surgeons.
back from, what did you say?
I said we are not brain surgeons.
Yeah, right. Thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, right? Is follow that plan and try, because there's a part of you in who your makeup in that is saying, just try. And if it's saying it, you'll never know unless you try, and then you're not living a life that's fulfilled.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Lori, thank you so much for being our guest today. You did awesome. Is there anything else that you just want to share or was on your heart before we close out today?
No, I just really appreciate it. Let me come in and talk about it. It's been good for me to sit down and actually think through where I've been in the last couple of years and whatnot. And I'm in just a different place right now with working behind the chair 3 days a week, and also just trying to my artistic side of the wedding hair. I enjoy doing that. But getting more into the business and trying to encourage, especially salon owners who are getting ready to think about what their exit plan is going to be. And I would be more than happy to have coffee, have a 30-minute call, whatever, just to come beside anybody who has any questions or just needs a soundboard. Or I love people, and I especially love women who want to see growth in their life.
I love that. And I love just what you've brought to the table, right? You've gone many different ways in your career, and you've had a business, you've been an employee, you've sold a business, you've started new businesses. So it gives such a beautiful perspective on how they can all work together, and how all those life experiences help to give you wisdom, right? In those future decisions. So,
and embracing that change is okay.
Yeah, that's so good.
I have a close friend that has said my whole life that life's about changes. Nothing stays the same.
Yeah.
And I think that we use that word and we get scared, and yet it's part of life. And I'm firsthand experience that lots of changes, but ride the waves.
Ride the waves. Well, with that, we will close it out. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you at our next episode in this series. All right. Thanks, Lori. Bye.
Bye.